In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do the screw holes in the custom gear train housing. And so reviewing the sketch that was part of the documentation for this, you can see that I will have planned to place these screw holes in these corners where the curves overlap. And so that's what I'll be demonstrating in this video. So if we look here, the first step will be to go back into the housing component. I'm going to click this pencil to edit in place. I'll keep the same context. Next, I'm going to go to the Insert menu at the top right, under which you can find Insert Fastener. This is part of Fusion's library of different types of fasteners. You could pick any one you wanted from here, or use any downloaded online. However, the advantage of using the ones built into Fusion is that you can preview them and adjust them dynamically as you work. And so I'm going to go in and navigate through to the round-headed screws, then to these sheet metal ones that have pointed tips. This is the closest thing to what I commonly see used in this application. And so I'll click to select one of those, and it will then start previewing that screw within the model. It's by default set to auto size, so it will jump around a lot unless you set it to a size. So I could set it to 0 and then look at how that fits within the context of the drawing. For example, I could take off the top here of the gear housing and see that that screw head will fit into that corner gap there. And then if I rotate to the side, I can also see the depth of the screw, which looks currently perhaps a little bit too short. And so I'm going to change the nominal length to 1/4 inch, which I believe will fit pretty well. And so that's the one I'm going to use for this application. So whenever I press OK, it will then insert that screw as a component into my model. And so the next thing I'm going to do is rotate it 180 degrees to get it facing the direction I want. I'm going to turn on the visibility of the top so they can see it. I'm going to start by placing it approximately in the position I want there. Now I'm going to position the screw approximately where I want to on the lid at the intersection of this curve here. I'll turn off the visibility of the top to see how it fits in this edge, the interlocking edge there. So I want to get it to where it's essentially right between those 2 points there. And I'm going to look at the depth that it is in, and so the plan will be to have this inset into the lid just a little bit so it doesn't stick out of the top. And I also need it to go deep enough into the bottom parts to hold it fixed there. And so I'm going to set that down 0.3 of an inch, that is, into there. And so that'll be the location of the first one. And it's good to go ahead and place these fasteners and then build the spot for them to fit using the fastener itself. And so now I'm going to create the hole in the bottom part of this gear housing. And so I'll click on it to make it my active component. I'm going to then project the bottom diameter of this screw right here into my drawing. So I'll press P to project. And now it's going to ask me for the surface onto which I'm projecting. And that's going to be that part of the interlocking edge of the gear housing. And then I'll get the underside of the screw. I'll click on that diameter where the thread begins, and that will project the ring into my sketch here. And so then I will press OK. That's really all I need for now. So I'll finish the sketch, and then I can turn off the visibility of that fastener to be able to access that sketch on here. So now I'm going to press E to extrude and turn the visibility of that fastener back on, because I want to try to get it at the bottom. You can see how when I hover over the area, I can see the bottom of the fastener. So I'm going to keep making my hole deeper Now this could also be done using the hole feature. And if you needed a tapered edge, actually we'll probably leave mine just enough room so that it kind of buries that edge as it goes down. Last little bit. Let's see. I think that. Alright, so that's 0.14. I'll press OK. So that hole is cut for the screw in the bottom. And now I could go to the top part like that and turn off the visibility of the bottom. Do the same thing with projecting onto the bottom edge of the lip there, this circle, which is the diameter of the screw thread. I'll press OK to finish that and finish my sketch. And I'll press E to extrude. I'll bring that, I can just bring this all the way through the top because I'm also going to make a slightly wider hole. So I'll switch from distance to object on my extent and get that all the way through there. Next I'm going to do the same thing essentially by pressing P to project, and I'll click on the top surface of the lid this time because I need to make a slightly larger hole for the recessed head to fit into. So I'll click on the outer diameter at the top of the head to project that into the sketch. And with the visibility turned back on, you can see that there. Finish the sketch and press E to extrude, and then bring that down underneath the bottom of the fastener head. And so go here. I can switch the extent type to object, click on the bottom of that head, have a toggle on the visibility again. We'll cut a hole for that to sit down in. So I'll press OK. And that completes one of these heads, or one of the holes for the screw head and body. And so if I turn on the visibility of everything, you can see how the screw would fit down in there, right at that point. You can turn off the top, you can see it's sitting right about there, bottom right about there. And all of the other ones are essentially the same process. And so move over to this side. Now with these fasteners you could just copy them. So if you click on one of them, you hold Control and tap C, and then tap V. It'll copy that into that same location, and then you just need to move it down, in this case, to where you want it to sit on the other side. I'll turn off the visibility of the top there to try to get this into that point. Something right about there. And then I'll press OK. And so now that one is in the location. On the other side, I'll press P to project onto this bottom edge. And I'm going to project the diameter of the thread onto that surface. Click OK. I will then turn off the visibility of that screw. Finish sketch. Did not seem to complete that projection. Let me try that one more time. P to project. Click on the surface. Get the bottom of the circle and press OK. Perhaps it is... I see. I need to have the bottom as the active component here. That's where I missed it. And so then I'll press P to project, click on the edge, and get the diameter of the thread to project onto that surface. I'll press OK. Finish the sketch. Then I will hide the fastener and get the sketch profile there. I need to do that. Turn back around. Alright, so then I can press E to extrude, and I'll pull that down to the depth of the fastener. Again, I'll have to turn the visibility of that fastener back on. If I hover over it, then I can see approximately where it is behind that. And so I'll get it just almost to the bottom, but not quite. This might be better done with a hole with a tapered edge, but it's fine. Press OK. So the hole is there. Now I will turn on the visibility of the top, make it the active component. Turn off the visibility of the bottom. I can press P to project, and I'll project onto that bottom edge of the interlocking lip, and I'll select the diameter of the P. Let's select the diameter of the bottom of the screw. Then press OK. So that projects it onto that surface. So I can finish the sketch, press E to extrude, and then bring that all the way through by changing the extent type to object and clicking on the top surface so the hole will be cut through the entire thing. I'll press O or OK to finalize that, and I can press P to project again, click on the top surface, and then I'll have to turn off the visibility of the top part to get the diameter of the screw head. Press OK, and that puts that there at the top. And so I can finish the sketch, press E to extrude, and click on that part of the profile, turn off the visibility of the top, and then click on the bottom part of the screw head here. And if I turn off the visibility at the top there, I'll then cut the hole for that screw head. Okay. So now I've got two of the screw heads, so they're recessed into the box, and then they have a smaller diameter hole for that one. So now I just need the other two, which are essentially the same, just at a different location. And I'll just pick the one of those screws, hold Control. Oh, actually, let me go back and make the housing part the main component. That needs to be active component. Then I'll select one of the fasteners, hold Control, tap C, then V to copy and paste it where I want it. Then I'm going to move it to the next hole location, which will be right here. And this is at a lower surface level. And so I'm going to need to, I'll need to drop that down to fit inside this part here, just like that, and check how that looks. And so that should be sufficient, but I do think that I'm going to have an issue right here to where that sits, so I could also just move that over a little bit. Probably makes a bit more sense to put it right there instead, and so that it isn't going into across two surface levels. So I'm going to put it right there. Let me get it to where it'll fit inside the edge, and then check the depth. It needs to be lower to fit down into there. Let's turn on the visibility of the top. So probably we'll want it to go to about right here. Should put it sufficiently deep into the bottom part of the component, so I'll press OK. Then I'll go ahead and I'm going to finish the edit in place and hold Control and tap S to save it. You can't save during an edit in place, so you have to end it. But since I've done several steps, I should go ahead and save before continuing. And then I'll go back to editing in place the housing. Then I'll press P to project, click on the, actually, cancel that, cancel. I need to make the bottom part my active component now. Then press P to project, click on the bottom edge, choose the inner diameter right there, or the diameter of the thread itself, press OK. I can also, well, I could do both of these at the same time. since they're at the same level, but I've already started here, so let's go ahead and finish that. Also get this one as well. I'll finish the sketch. And then turn off the visibility of the fastener. And then get the profile, sketch profile. Press E to extrude. Turn that visibility of the fastener back on. And then I will cut down to the bottom or just above the bottom of the screw point, right there. And I'll press OK. And then I will turn the visibility of the top on and the bottom off, and make the top part the active component. Press P to project, get that profile here, and then project the diameter. I don't think I've got the right spot, so let me turn off the visibility of the top briefly so I can get that. I'll turn it back on. And so now I've projected the diameter of this screw into the sketch. I'll finish the sketch, press E to extrude, and come through and change the distance to object. That's the extent type. And I'll cut the hole through all the way. Then I will press P to project again, click on the top surface, briefly turn off the visibility of the top so that I can see the screw. I'll click the diameter of the screw head, project that into the sketch here. Then I'll finish that sketch, press E to extrude, get that profile that I just projected, and then I will drag it down below the, or actually, let me turn off the visibility of the top, and I can change the extent type to object and click on the bottom of the screw head and cut that hole. So that's the third hole finished. And after that, I'll go ahead and finish the edit in place, hold Control and tap S to save. And then I'll go back and continue editing the edit in place there. So I've got just one more fastener that I need. I'll go to the fasteners and hold Control and tap C and then V to copy and paste that in place. And then I'll drag it straight across and get it into the position for the last one. Turn off the visibility of the top, turn on the visibility of the bottom so I can see the interlocking edge. Get that positioned, press OK, and then I'm going to make the bottom my active component, and I will project, press P to project, and click on the edge on which the screw sits. And then I will click on the diameter of the thread, press OK, it projects it into the sketch. Then I will press E to extrude, click on that profile, and drag it down below the screw thread, or the bottom of the screw, about there. I'll press OK, and then I will turn off the visibility of the bottom, turn on the visibility of the top, and make it my active component. I'll press P to project, get this surface, and then click on the diameter of the screw thread, press OK, finish the sketch, E to extrude, change the extent type to object, and click on the top surface to cut the hole all the way through. Then I will press P to project, click on the top surface, and get the diameter of the screw head here. Let me turn off the visibility there. Get the diameter of the screw head, and press OK. Finish the sketch, press E to extrude, and get that profile. Turn off the visibility of the top, and click on, switch the extent type to object, and click on the bottom of the screw head. Finish cutting the hole for that. And I think that I had something selected that I didn't need to have. Let me try that again. E to extrude. Turn off the visibility at the top. Change distance to extend type. I mean, not the object. It should. Now cut it. Press OK. So now all the screws have been cut. That's the process by which you can make screw holes in your custom gear housing.